Hi there, I'm Paul, and you're listening to the first episode of the Generation Latino podcast, a podcast for all. I first off want to thank you guys for just taking the time to listen to this episode. It has been a vision of mine for years to have my very own podcast. Anyone who knows me knows that I have been wanting to have my own podcast for a very, very long time. And the last 2 years, I was consumed with school. I was in a graduate program and I finally graduated with my master's degree. And as soon as I was done, I told myself that I am going to have my own podcast. And I have finally been able to make that vision a reality. And, the purpose for this podcast is to truly just build community for like minded individuals and to help motivate my fellow Latinos. It means a lot to me to be Latino. It means a lot to me to be part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I really want to have a space for people like us. I think more than ever in 2025, where the state of the country is and the world, I think it's so beneficial to have a space like this. So, speaking of vision and reality, I hope you enjoy this episode When Vision Meets Reality, the election that changed my life. So, you're probably thinking that title for a first episode of a podcast is extremely dramatic. And the truth is, guys, is that it is my story, and I am going to go back to before I started grad school. Right before I started grad school, I was telling everyone that I wanted to go back to school and that I wanted to get a master's degree, right? I had done my undergraduate at Texas State, loved that school, really, really enjoyed it, but I wanted to elevate my education and I wanted to challenge myself and push myself and just do better, right? So before I even had, I had applied for grad school. Even before that, I was already looking at class rings. I had told myself that I was going to pick my ring before I even had started class or school or got accepted. I was already looking at what I wanted my graduation ring to look like. And I'm saying that to you because that's how important vision is to me. I really believe in vision and the importance of it. Growing up, how I grew up, all you really had was vision. You didn't really have much. We didn't have much money growing up. We didn't have much of anything. So I always knew that vision was important because for me, if I envisioned something, I can make it happen. If I saw something in front of me, whether it was on the TV or in the paper or anything, I I knew that I could make it happen. So just like I had always done in my life before, when before I started, my graduate program, I told myself, okay, I am going to pick the ring out. It's going to also help motivate me, help me keep me focused. So, anyways, I had applied for grad school. I had my ring. I hadn't bought it, obviously, but I already knew exactly what I wanted it to look like, the design, the color, everything. So I got into grad school, and I must say that being in grad school was one of the best times in my life. I met so many great people along the way, and I was just so excited to truly just elevate my level of education and learn. My mom only had a high school education. My grandma couldn't even read or write, and she only spoke Spanish. So for me, it meant a lot to me to get into graduate school and to you know work on a master's degree. So throughout my time in my program, I must say that it was extremely challenging. There were times where I wanted to stop or I wanted to give up or I just wanted to, put it on hold and get back to it. And I can honestly say in our program, um, we about maybe 6 or 7 people had dropped out of the program while we were in it. I mean, that's how rigorous it was, and it was intense. It was not an easy program, but oftentimes I wanted to drop out and get out of the program. But I had a really good cohort, and they really helped me. A couple of them really helped me stay on and stick to it and stay motivated. So through that, I went through grad school, and the summer of 2024 was probably the roughest summer have gone through on a professional level. With the work was insane, school was insane. I was taking a grant writing course, and that really, really drove me over the edge. But I got through that. But in that time, I wasn't really paying attention to politics. I was so focused on school and what I needed to get done. So anything outside of my world of work and school and the gym and my personal things, I didn't really care about. So I wasn't really paying attention to anything politics. I really wasn't. It just wasn't in my radar. Now in 2016 and 2020, I was invested. I was really keeping track early on, but this time around, I just didn't have time, and I needed to finish my degree. I was like knee deep in it, and I needed to finish it if I wanted to get that ring that I had envisioned, all of that. So I remember it was the summer, and I remember reading on, I think it was Yahoo News, because I still use Yahoo News. I know a lot of people don't, but I do, and I read that Joe Biden was dropping out the uh, of the campaign of the election. He was no longer going to run, and I thought to myself, "Wow, this is interesting." But even with that news that I got, I still told myself, "Cool, they'll figure out someone. I'm going to move on. I got stuff to do." Right? So I didn't really pay no mind or any attention. Again, I was really on a mission, and that was to get my master's degree at the end of the year, right? Because graduation was December 12th, and I had things to do. I remember a couple of days later hearing that Kamala Harris was going to run for the presidency. And when I tell you how much that shifted my 2024, I mean, that is an understatement. As soon as I found out that she ran and was going to be the nominee, and watching the DNC, I was in tears. I was motivated. I had never been so inspired in my life to not only finish my master's program, but just continue doing the work that I want to do. And I remember getting the friendship bracelets, one of my friends and I remember getting t-shirts and donating to the campaign, and I was so fully invested in that campaign and the vision of Kamala Harris. I just everything that I stood for. When I looked in in the TV, when I looked at the TV, I saw her, I saw myself, and just I saw the women that have supported me, and my friends and my teachers and my mentors. I saw all of that, and it really just it touched me to the core of who I am and what I stand for. So just from there on out, it was just school, Kamala, gym, repeat. Everything. I was sending videos to people. I was letting everybody know that I was going to vote for her, and I was getting my friends and family to know everything about her because I believed in her so much. And one thing that I did that was detrimental to me, I had put in my vision board in my head that when I walked that stage on December 12th, 2024, that Kamala Harris was going to be the president elect. In my mind, I already had told myself that, and there was nothing that was going to stop that from happening. So I put that in my brain. I told myself that that was going to happen. So as the campaign is coming on, we're in September, October. I am already gearing towards my last class the of my program. I had done everything up to that point. I needed my capstone project to be done, and if anyone doesn't know what a capstone is, it's basically your end of program project. It's a massive project that basically tells you that you've mastered the degree that you are, trying to earn. So for me, it's nonprofit management. That's what I got my master's in. So I'm working on that. I'm working on, my project, all of that, right? Everything, I'm working on it. And it is finally time for me to order my class ring. And it seemed like a lifetime ago, but I already knew exactly what I wanted to order. I had the photo, I had everything. So the company that was, providing our rings for us were going to be on campus. So I go to campus and I pick out my ring. I know exactly the one I want. I try it on. I take pictures. I am so ecstatic because everything up to this point is going towards my vision that I have, right? I'm going to graduate, woman elected president, history broke, just everything. History was going to be made, everything in my head. I just, it was going to happen no matter what. So I remember I bought my ring and the sales lady tells me that the ring would be coming in the first week of December, right? So basically a couple days before that I graduated. I said, no problem. I'm excited. I got time, everything, all of that. So I go, and at this point, it's already early voting. So I go in, I go early vote. I went on the first day of early voting, and I couldn't have been happier to go vote in my life. And I always tell people, right? There's family members that I have and friends that don't practice their right to vote, and that's on them. But for me, it's a privilege to vote, right? It's a privilege to vote. I recently got my mom to start voting. She barely started voting, the last election in 2020, but I was very proud to have been the first one to take her to, that's her basic right as an American to go vote, So I felt so proud of my mom for going out and voting. And it was such a great thing that we did. And I took her to go vote and it was fun. So, anyways, just a lot of people that I know that didn't vote, and it is what it is. So, go vote. I go before work, and I'm wearing my sticker on me, and I am proud to go put that sticker on, and I am proud that we are getting, you know, one step closer to breaking history. That I just we just it was history was going to be made in my eyes. It was going to be made. So finally, it is election day. Election day has arrived, and at this point, I am focused solely on my project for my capstone. I've already bought my cap and gown. I've already, signed up for all of the events such as graduation. There was a ring ceremony. There was a mass. There was a dinner with my cohort. So there was a bunch of festivities going on to build up to graduation, right? So again, I just needed to get this election, and my vision was gonna be everything that I ever wanted it to be. So I wake up, it's election day, and I wake up so excited. In my mind, I was already playing out what the evening was gonna look like. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be talking to my grandmother who's in heaven, and we're gonna be everything. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll be graduating and I'll get to walk the stage. So in my mind, I'm playing this whole movie of what it was gonna look like. So I get to the gym and I'm a little nervous. For some reason, I'm like nervous, excited. It's that antsy feeling that you get before you go on stage or something like that. That's the best way to explain it. And I grew up doing theater. I did theater in college and undergrad. So it's basically the same feeling that I had. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to perform. But it was not that. So I get to the gym and I was talking to one of the coaches and I was telling them that I was a little bit nervous because of the election, and that was that. And I dedicated my workout to Kamala Harris and and to all the women that were going to be seeing history being witnessed, to all of the minorities that were going to witness history that evening. So before I get home, I go to the grocery store and I go pick up some groceries, right? I'm like skipping around. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. And before that, when I left the gym, I got an email from the company that was manufacturing my ring. And they were telling me that I was going to get my ring that day, like that my ring was coming in today, which was November 5th. And I thought, what? How? Like, how is this? And in my mind, this was just, it kept playing into my narrative like, oh my gosh, this must be really meant to be. Like, to say that my graduation ring is coming at the same time that I'm going to witness Kamala Harris be our first woman president and woman of color. I get to wear my ring. I get to cry. I get to blah. I get to, again, just fueling my vision with more stuff. And I thought, wow, this is so serendipitous that nothing, that you can't even write this in my mind. So I go to the grocery store. I'm buying my groceries because I was gonna have like a mini party with myself. It was just gonna be me, myself, and I. And I had it all planned out. I was gonna watch the movie Coco. I was gonna watch the Taylor Swift Eras tour, and I wasn't gonna keep the news on. I was just gonna do like updates throughout the night. I wasn't gonna have it on the entire time. So I get to the cashier and I'm telling her like, "Oh my God, are you excited? We're gonna witness history today." She was like, sure." I mean, I was like, "Are you not excited?" She's like, "Nah, it's okay. It is what it is." And I'm like, "Girl, like, did you even vote?" Anyways, I didn't ask her that, but I was just kind of concerned that she hadn't voted. But it is what it is. So then I go to the liquor store, right? Because I went to go get me some Crown Apple because I was gonna get I was gonna drink Sprite Zero and Crown Apple. If you haven't had it, it is a really good drink. So anyways, I was having that, and I thought to myself, Jesus, like this is everything. And I remember talking to that cashier, and I was like, "Sir, are you excited?" He's like, sure. No matter what happens, history is gonna be made." And I'm like, okay. And then I kept thinking to myself, am I the only one who's this excited for election night? Like, to me, I could have been at it like going to Disney World for me. Like, I could have been going to the moon. That's how ecstatic I was about this. So then I finally get home, I take a shower. I wasn't drinking quite yet. I was like, no, I'm gonna wait to have a drink. I want to wait till I am celebrating this win that we're about to have. So I, I put on the movie Coco, and I, that movie reminds me of my grandmother. It reminds me of my culture. It reminds me of being a kid. Put it on, shed a couple tears, and I feel good. And at that point, my ring arrives, and I go outside. I get it from the UPS guy, and I'm like, "Oh my God, my ring is here!" I open it up, you guys, and it is even better than I could even had imagined. It was gold. It was nice. It was shiny. Everything, the details, all of it. It just was everything I could have ever had imagined. So I put it on, and it fits too big. And I look up, and that was the first inkling that day that something was off. And I said to myself, you got to be kidding me. Like, the ring doesn't fit me. And it kept bothering me for whatever reason that it didn't fit me. It just was really just in my mind the entire time. Like, oh, I cannot believe this doesn't fit me. Like, what are you kidding me? So then I I call a jeweler, a local jeweler, and I ask them like, "Hey, can y'all resize this ring?" They're like, "Yeah, if you come in tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh yeah, great. I'll be there tomorrow. First, let me witness history being made. I'm gonna go skip and hop over there tomorrow because tomorrow's a brand new day, and tomorrow is gonna be everything." So then I finally, I let go of the ring situation, but I'm still excited that I have it. I'm still excited that it's in my hands and I get to see it and all of that. So after that, I put on the Taylor Swift Eras tour, right? And I finally make me my first drink. So I'm making my first drink and I'm like sipping on it. And you've never seen the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, it is like 4 hours long on Disney Plus. It's a long concert and it's amazing. And if anyone knows me, I am the biggest Taylor Swift fan. I'm talking like OG Swifty, Teardrops on My Guitar, Picture to Burn, Tim McGraw. That's how far Taylor Swift and I go back. I am a legit fan. Anyways, so at that point, I'm like, you know what? Let me start checking the updates. Like, let me start seeing what's happening. So I turn up my computer and I'm like, it's not going how I want it to go. But it's politics, it's election night, and things are always kind of up and down and uncertain until, you know, just it's just always uncertain. So, and I tell myself, this is this is not feeling well, but let's just keep going. So I turn off I close my computer. I put some more of the Eras tour on. At this point, she's further along in the concert, and then I put her on hold, and then I turn up my computer again, and I see that Kamala is behind, and then I start to kind of I'm refreshing my computer and I'm kind of like, no, 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 this can't be happening. This can't be happening. Maybe it's like 2020 again, where there's like a delay. And then I started to realize that the evening was not going to go how I thought it was going to go. And I started to spiral a little bit, and I still kept refreshing my computer. And when I realized that the vision was not what I thought it was going to be, I closed my computer, sat down on the floor, and was in complete disbelief. I I can't tell you how embarrassed I felt. I can't tell you how disappointed, how defeated I felt. I kept thinking to myself, how the heck am I going to be able to get on with my life, with the disappointment? And guys, I know it sounds dramatic hearing this, but when you come from where I come from and you see the vision in front of you and it doesn't happen, it's hard. It's hard. And I was having a really hard time with accepting that. And I was sitting down thinking like, screw this. Like, I don't want to go back to school. Forget my ring. Forget the festivities. Forget everything. Like, forget it all. Forget it all. I don't care. I put so much emphasis on this vision that because it didn't happen, I didn't know what to do. I just felt like everything was pointless. And I felt like there was no purpose for anything. And I talked to one of my friends in Germany. She's stationed out there with her husband. And I spoke to her for a couple hours and I basically like sorrowed myself to sleep. And when I woke up, for a split second, I thought, was that a dream? Was that like a bad nightmare that I just witnessed yesterday? And I pull up my phone and then I thought to myself, no, it's not. It's not a nightmare. This is your reality. And at that point, I didn't want to do anything. I was embarrassed to check my phone. I was, and why I had embarrassment lingering over me, I can't tell you why, but I think it was because I had put so much faith and so much hope and so much of my vision was was not going to happen, and that really hurt me. And I couldn't find a way to look past it. So I didn't want to do anything when I woke up. I wanted to stay in bed. I wanted to scream, yell. I wanted to drop. I wanted to like just stop doing everything. I wanted to like forget about my project, forget about my capstone, forget about school, forget about everything. And I I had to tell myself, okay, I couldn't think too far forward. I couldn't think even past like 5 p.m. that day. I just couldn't. I could not see past anything because of how disappointed I was and how discouraged I was and how defeated I felt. So it was probably like 8 in the morning, and I told myself, look, at least go to the gym. That's the least you can do right now. Don't promise yourself anything else past that. So I said, okay, let's get up. As depressed, angry, upset as you are, get your butt up, get dressed, and go to the gym. So I get to the gym, very somber, very sad, very disappointed. I just did not want to be there. Like, I did not want to be there. I didn't. I didn't want to be there. But I was there, and I have to say that everybody was respectful of what had just happened, right? Everybody was very respectful. There was a somberness and a cloud over the whole day, but it is what it was, right? And I left the gym, and I had remembered that I had called the jewelry shop the night before and that I was going to resize my ring. And then I thought to myself, oh, I gotta go resize my ring. But at that point, I didn't even want the freaking ring. I didn't care about that it fit me too big. I didn't care about anything. I just didn't. And I I tell myself, just go get it resized, and then you'll figure it out afterwards. So I resized the ring, and you know, the sales lady was very kind. She said, "Hey, just come back in an hour and we can resize it for you." I was like, "Thank you." And I drove home, and I spoke to a couple friends on the phone, and they were very nice and very kind. They knew how much that this hurt me, and they knew how much this meant to me. And I was on the phone. I was just upset and saying things and just angry and in disbelief and all of that. I still couldn't. Again, I still couldn't move past it. And I remember telling my friend, like, what's the point of even graduating? Like, what's the point of what? Why do I even bother? Like, why? If this is the stuff that keeps happening to people like me and my people and my community, why do I care? Why do I care so much? Like, seriously. And again, my friends just let me vent, but I was I throwing a tantrum? Yeah, I was. I was hurt. I was upset. I was disappointed. Like, you take two steps forward and one step back. And as a minority, that's detrimental. That is like crucial. It's just not the same. As a minority, you're in a different playing field than everyone else. You don't have 100 opportunities in front of you, and seeing Kamala Harris be the first woman president was an opportunity. For her to be that close, for her to be at like a tail end of a finish line, it not happen is so discouraging, because how many of us have been there when we've almost had something, but we didn't make it happen, or it didn't go in our favor. So I go pick up my ring, and the lady asked me to try it on. I try on the ring, and I must say, it was the first time since the results that I had a smile on my face. It really brought some joy in my face knowing that the ring fit me the way I wanted it to, and it just fit like a glove. And I said, okay, cool. I like this. And I have to say that I really had to talk to myself and get myself out of this rut that I was in because I was starting to spiral down and I was having a really hard time staying motivated to finish anything. When I say that I really wanted to drop out of school, I mean it. When I say that I didn't want to do any of the festivities like graduation, like the dinner, like the mass, like the ring blessing, I didn't. And then I had to realize that all of that I had look forward to was a privilege for me. I had to tell myself, Paul, your grandmother, your mom, they could have even dreamt of what is about to happen to you. Yes, you're upset. You're allowed to feel what you're feeling, but do not forget about the shoulders of the women that you were able to stand on. And because of that, you're able to walk the stage, be able to celebrate your festivities and your dinners and your this and your that. That's a privilege. And I really had to tell myself that because I was so caught up in my emotions. I was so caught up and I was so unmotivated. But once I was able to get myself out of that, of the hurt, of the pain, of the embarrassment, I was able to slowly realize that I had worked my ass off to get to where I was headed to, that I had worked my ass off to earn that degree, that my mom worked her ass off so that I could walk that stage and collect my master's degree, that my grandmother crossed that border illegally so that her grandson can walk that stage. I had to tell myself that because I was so caught up in things that I had no control over. I couldn't see it though, right? Because my vision and my reality couldn't see it. They couldn't meet eye to eye. So once I did that, I was able to really focus in on closing out my program. I was really able to focus on acing my capstone. I was able to focus on graduating with a 4.0. And I'll tell you this, I went to every single one of those festivities. And I am so glad I did. Because I would tell you this, if I had missed any of them, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. So finally, it's the day of graduation. And when I woke up that morning, I could feel my grandmother's energy. I could feel, myself feeling excited, emotional. And I kept telling myself every single 30 minutes, enjoy this. I actively was telling myself to enjoy the moment because it was so much bigger than myself. That day was so much bigger than me. And I can say that I took so much pride in the generations before me. And I, although the vision that I had wasn't going to be exactly how I had wanted it to be, I knew that it was still something that I was proud of. And it really helped me moving forward, realizing that although my vision may not be a reality, I can still make it work. And I can still make it possible to still enjoy moments and enjoy wins in life. So this election really taught me a lot. And it's something that I will forever take with me for the rest of my life. And I think it happened in a time that it needed to happen. I couldn't see it as I was going through it all and as I was trying to figure it out. I couldn't see it. But looking back now in hindsight, it's been some time since, it's been a couple months since then. And I can honestly say that I probably needed to have gone through that emotionally. I needed to push myself like that. I needed to be up against the wall. I needed to be tested. I needed my strength to be questioned. And I thank God for that. But for anyone out there who is struggling with staying motivated, with struggling to stay resilient, I'm telling you right now, guys, like, we Latinos more than ever need to stay motivated and need to stay resilient. And the whole purpose of this podcast, specifically this episode, is to let you know, no matter how deep you are in a hole, no matter how unmotivated you feel like, I'm telling you, as long as you're breathing, as long as you're able to have breath, you can do it too. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode. It means a great deal. I would appreciate it if you could share this episode with anyone you feel it could motivate or move or just listen to. I know today is a very interesting day for a lot of people out there. There's a lot of divide in the world. There's a lot of division in this country. But again, we got this. Us minorities, we got this. We have so much power that we have yet to even tap into. But I say we should tap into it together. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.